Well, what do we have here? What do we have here? The same old Negrera system. That's how the system works. The message is clear, it's crystal clear. Hey, make a mistake for or against Real Madrid, and you'll get a reward in a few days. Alberola Rojas will be in charge of officiating the Copa final this coming weekend between Atletico de Madrid and Real Sociedad. This really reminds us, remember, we've seen it all our lives, right? But well, the most famous one is this one, isn't it? When that referee in the Barça Espanyol match back in June 2007 awarded this goal to Messi with his hand, and 3 days later he was promoted, he was appointed to referee the Copa final that year. And well, we've seen 1,000 of these throughout all this time. By the way, the assistant VAR is going to be Trujillo. He'll be there because the VAR is Figueroa Vasquez, but the assistant VAR is going to be Trujillo. Also Trujillo Suarez. They reward this gentleman too. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. In the mistake. One of the most outrageous things in recent years, and just think about how many there have been, right? That he didn't see a penalty because of an elbow to a guy who then starts bleeding like a pig. Neither the one below nor the one above sees it. And now let's go with the explanation that Juan Fesans gave yesterday on El Chiringuito about why the referees, why it wasn't seen in the VAR. They say that in the VAR, they didn't see it. Let's see, they're going to have to explain that to us. Not just explain it better, no. I mean, we need to be sure about that because I don't believe anything anymore. Absolutely nothing. If VAR missed it, that's serious. If they saw it but deny it, that's even worse. And since here they've done very serious things like allowing a club to pay 8.4 million to the referee's boss over 20 years, well, after that you can believe anything, right? Because anything worse is impossible, right? So that's how it is. That's how things work. You know something? HD Elena is saying on X, I don't know if she has posted it or not, but anyway, we have a graphic there about communication between us. She already mentioned something that Ramon Alvarez de Mon, for example, said, don't be surprised because that's happened before on other occasions. And it's that in El Clásico, with the league already decided, there could be a scandalous mistake in favor of Real Madrid. I mean, that the referee makes a mistake in favor of Real Madrid to then balance the narratives, and that's it. You get me, right? So that it's like, no, look, then the decision in favor of Madrid that was made in a Clásico, right? Of course, well, that's it, guys, that's it, bye. Some might say it's about Tchouaméni's handball from the last Clásico when the league was still open and Barca was set to win. Even though that handball was already explained, his arm was vertical, it was behind him, he wasn't making himself bigger, he wasn't taking up extra space. But anyway, the point is they already had a reason to say no, but if on top of that they favor Real Madrid, what more do you want, right? What more do you want? Well, guys, that's how this works. That's how this works. And more things, well, yes, let's listen to what Juanfe said yesterday, because that's when he says that VAR didn't have, let's see if I can get this straight here with my headphones. I've got a huge tangle here. That's when he said that the VAR didn't have the images, Trujillo Suarez didn't have the images of Mbappe bleeding. One moment, wait now.
One of the reasons why the VAR was a bit quote-unquote blind. The referees who were in the VAR didn't have any of the 24 cameras available. In fact, there was only one that had clear evidence of Mbappe's bleeding. What does this mean? That the VAR referees, although this is a consequence of the situation, didn't see the blood, which could have triggered the alarm for them to say, Alberola, go check the play. In other words, the referees found out practically when they left the room because of what we published and what was going around about Mbappe's bleeding. Did they find out about Mbappe through El Chiringuito? Yes, of course. El Chiringuito is ahead of the group, the cowboy. El Chiringuito because of the photo from El Chiringuito. Joseph in the VAR room, they just don't see.
They shouldn't overreact. It's not about the El Chiringuito photo, since many photos circulated before. Anyway, people here always just look out for themselves.
Blood. They couldn't see it, just like we couldn't. What's up with that? You're not letting me? Hold on, Ivo, let me finish. What's the issue? What I think Alberola should have done, which would have been the simplest thing, since he's the one who saw it, is to give a brief description of what happened. There were consequences, there's bleeding, they're attending to the player. And that would have allowed the VAR to calmly review all the cameras, but also to call him over to the monitor.
No, man, no.
No, I don't buy it.
Perdón. Sorry, this is...
It's important.
Wait, what you said is very serious.
What's going on with that? No, let me finish, Evo. Just a second. What's going on? What I think Alberola should have done would have been the simplest thing.
Careful. It says the protocol is for the VAR to call the referee on the field, not the other way around. Like, come here, get closer. But is there a little window or a way through which, and Juan Cesar is saying here, and if there's someone who knows about referees, well, him and Futo, whatever they may be, but they know they have inside information. And yes, they really do. I'm not sure if this guy was a referee or anything. I don't really know his life, but I think so. That's it, right? What he's saying right now, he could have said he's bleeding, be careful. And maybe the people upstairs would say, let's try to get a better look.
The one who saw it should have given a brief description of what happened, and that would have had consequences.
Of course, because they always, I mean, it's not that the referee asked the VAR to go see the play or anything, but there is always communication between them. Remember, many times the referee doesn't go to the monitor to review anything, but they're still talking. You can see how the referee is talking. When they're talking to him, he's talking. I mean, and then we never get to hear those recordings because if it's not a play that's reviewed with the referee down in front of the monitor, well, that audio is never released to us. But they do talk, they talk.
He's bleeding, they're attending to the player, and that would have given the VAR enough time to calmly review all the cameras and call him over.
No, man, no.
I'm not buying it. It's just that, well...
It's incredible. It's incredible, man. Well, there we have it, right? Trujillo Suarez, maybe to cover it up a bit. If they want to cover it up a bit, I don't think so. They've put him as the VAR assistant and not the main VAR. I mean, he's not the main video referee, but he's there. I mean, they've rewarded a guy. It's unbelievable. They've rewarded a guy who failed to give that penalty while on VAR, man. Because what happened with Alberola Rojas could still have a small justification because he was on the field, because he didn't see the play itself. Maybe he was focused on the fouls and so on. I just don't believe anything anymore. I mean, I don't believe anything anymore. But damn, then you see him bleeding. You can tell the VAR, hey, this guy's bleeding because you describe what you're seeing, and then they indeed can call you. But they've been rewarded. They've been rewarded. What a crazy thing. What a crazy thing, man. Qué cosa más loca, tío. Wait, because here there's some information from Edu de Bagnon, who's always got an encyclopedic memory. Good old Edu. And he tells us it's also important to focus on Jorge, well, Mateo, Alberola's assistant, who clearly saw the elbows thrown at Fran Garcia. Let's see if this Mateo is here. Jorge, well, Mateo. Yes, he's going to be an assistant because they always use the same assistants in these cases. He saw the elbows thrown at Fran Garcia, which is important. Fran Garcia also began bleeding a bit just below his ear. And Mbappe, a good friend of Jaime Latre from Zaragoza and a client of Coach Negreira Jr., both from the Aragon Referees Association, just like Clos Gomez. I mean, man. Anyway. All right, guys. Anyway, oops, we weren't supposed to remove the logo. Anyway, we just have to deal with it like always. All right, we'll make a longer video about this later. And, well, we had to react quickly because obviously it's the big news this morning and we're not surprised. We're shocked but not surprised, right? That's how this works. See you later. Thanks for being there. Bye.